We are now joined by head basketball coach Sandy Pugh, taking a rough one on the chin against the TCU Horned Frogs, 72-41. But I saw a little bit beyond the actual surface. Coach, how you doing today, and welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Now, as I mentioned, the score would indicate one thing, but what I witnessed, especially in that first period of play, was straight out tenacity, and then all of a sudden, it kind of the grip got loose in that second period, and it was hard to recover.
Well, we struggled to score. We thought we had some good looks. Way too many turnovers. I remember one particular stretch where we had, out of 7 possessions, we had 6 turnovers. I mean, you're going to struggle to compete with a team when you're turning the ball over at that rate. And a lot of the turnovers were, just us being a little, too aggressive in some areas or making the wrong pass decisions in another. But that team is big. They're way bigger than us. Obviously, way stronger than us. And something that we're definitely going to have to address over the summer with our team. But, the bottom line is, I thought the kids gave me what they had. Chelsea came off the bench. She was so incredibly frustrated because she just felt like she just couldn't get her shot off. And then the shot she got off, she felt like they just weren't falling for her. I thought Artie played hard, did some good things on both ends of the floor. She ended the game with 7 blocks, which is an all-time high for her. Jara and both Artie, that's homecoming for those 2 kids.
Right.
So, I think Jara could have given us a little bit more. I think she was fatigued, and I think the pace was a little bit much for her. We're going to talk about that as far as her next year getting ready to be able to play at a higher level. Aaron Willis, our usual starting point guard, who started for us all season, wasn't even able to make the trip.
Yeah, we noticed that. We noticed that, and we didn't know if there was an ailment or anything going on, or your disclosure to release what was going on.
Well, I can't go into any specific details, but it was a compliance issue. So I received a call from compliance saying that she would not be able to make the trip. As a coach, when you lose your starting point guard who has been the floor general and led the team all season, and then now that's going to postseason without her, that's a tough blow. So we had to scramble. Had 2 days to kind of try to scramble and see what we could work out. Dom stepped up to the challenge. I thought she did some good things for us, but it's nothing like having your normal leader with that ball in her hands and doing the things that she does. So that was a little disappointing for us as a whole. But all in all, that team is well coached in the Power 5 conference and way bigger than us, way stronger. Some of the things that we got to address in our off season is getting some kids in here who can compete at that level.
We're speaking right now with Coach Sandy Pugh, who came in and did a magnificent job doing with the time frame that she was allowed to come in and work her magic. Congratulations on the year. I know that feels incomplete, Coach, but understanding the X's and the O's and the behind-the-scene grinding as a PV supporter, fan, and a reporter, a fantastic job. I know you don't want to hear that right now, but we really do mean that you did an outstanding job of what you had to work with on this season.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike, and I definitely want to say to the fans who have consistently voiced their support and come out and cheered and clapped and, said some kind words towards the girls and in terms of their effort and representing PVAMU. I want to thank yourself and those fans. So hopefully we can continue the cycle of postseason play next year. We want to get some quality kids in here who can help keep that cycle going. We're losing 7 feet, so we have our hands full trying to replace a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be leaving the nest, if you allow me to say. But the one thing about the beauty of college sports is always retooling and redefining to go with the next core of student athletes that you'll have toward building on your program. And the key about this now is you begin to put that Sandy Pugh signature on things, and that's exciting for Pantherland to see what will be in the very near future for Panthers women's basketball. Now, Coach, I had a question that I was observing and been observing, I guess, the last 3 or 4 times. You guys did an exceptionally well defensively as well as the Horned Frogs in a zone defense. We saw that you all were a lot quicker. Of course, size end up wearing the ladies down. But why is it that in some cases, especially in postseason play, that the zone is difficult to try to figure out?
Well, in that particular sequence, zone is not something that we've played all year. We went to the zone because, like I said, they were so much bigger and stronger than us. We felt that was our best case scenario of being able to compete and rebound, was to keep them from the lane area. And based upon our scouts and what we saw, they really only had one kid who could really shoot the basketball on the perimeter, which was number 25.
Yes.
And we just seemed to not always be aware of where 25 was, like we should have been. I thought we did some good things. Keisha was phenomenal down there on the blocks, banging with the bigger kids. She's only 5'9", and she was down there hanging with 6'3".
Oh yes,
so.
oh yes, oh yes.
So that a lot. We went with the bigger lineup. I went for the first time ever with both of my bigs trying to match up. The first quarter, you figure with 13, you hold a Power 5 conference, only 13 points in the first quarter. You're doing something.
Right,
well.
right.
So I was pleased with that. But the fatigue, when we had to make the substitutions and rotate people because of fatigue, they were able to get 25 open. They started running a little pattern where she could cut across the lane and throwing it to the short corner and diving the point guard down. And we didn't have an answer for that. So she got on loose and she saw a couple go down. And, we had those consistent turnovers where we turned it over 6 out of 7 possessions. And they were able to get out. At halftime, we had only scored 3 points in the second quarter, and I thought that was probably the beginning of the end for us right there. Because, the kids didn't seem like, when you're down 18 points and it's at halftime and this team is so much bigger and stronger, it can seem insurmountable. And, you try to coach them up, get them to come out in the third quarter and keep the fight. We just couldn't score. We ended up, I think, scoring 14 points in the third. In Division I, you want to try to consistently score between 15 and 20 points a game, consistently per quarter. I'm sorry. But we scored 14, but we gave up 24. So that's not a good formula. So when we went down, kind of opened up the coffers and decided to let everybody play a little bit.
Now we noticed on the broadcast the other night that, as you said, it seemed like that wall. They finally hit that wall, fatigue-wise and even mentally. Did you see that unfolding during the development of that game?
You know what? I thought they got tired. Some of them we were constantly rotating. But I think the bottom line was, they just wore us down. Mm-hmm. When they're a load,
Right.
You're playing girls that big and that strong, and that B squad they brought in was just as fast and as athletic as us, on top of being bigger and stronger. So I just think that they just wore us down. And like I said, when I began to sub, because I didn't play the Dobbins kid, and toward the end, and neither did I play Artie toward the end, because I just wanted to get those returning kids an opportunity to go against some supreme talent. So we went with them for the fourth quarter and thought they did a nice job for us. Kiana came in and hit a couple big threes. The little Mariah.
Oh yes,
Campbell did a
yeah.
good job of banging
Campbell
down
had
that block.
some nice play on last night.
Oh yeah, she did a good job. So that was good to see. Going forward, I think that we got some nice pieces returning. We just got to put some great pieces around them. So.
Well, Coach, like I said, I can't overemphasize, at least from our angle, on the job that you put in. I did have a recruiting question. You made mention of the B squad that came in that was just as physical and talented. When it comes to recruiting, and we know that the Power Fives, they're going to have their inside lane on some things, but how difficult, or is it even a common practice to approach some of those kids that are on that second tier on the Power Five about either possibly looking in our direction or even transferring if they're getting frustrated with lack of time play?
Well, the stipend has made it extremely difficult. The stipend has literally changed the game because I'll use, for instance, when I was at my last school, we could consistently compete across the board with anyone. But when the stipend came into play, you got literally schools giving kids $1,000 per semester, $2,000 per semester, in addition to their Pell Grant. And we don't do that here. So if it comes down to let's say us versus Rice, that kid's going to Rice because Rice is giving a stipend, $1,500. And kids look at it like, hey, with that money, Coach, my mom can afford to buy me a car and pay the note and the insurance. So how do you compete with that?
Right.
It becomes almost impossible. So, basically the schools that are not giving the stipend, you push to the bottom, and you're having to get third-tier kids because those second-tier kids, now some of the kids whose parents are pretty much well-to-do, they'll be more inclined to listen to what you're saying. But the kids who don't have those resources, they're definitely going to look elsewhere. So it's definitely something that we as coaches have been, communicating with our administration about. They're open to the conversation, but those funds have to come from somewhere. And when I talk about stipend, I'm talking about cost of attendance, additional funding for student athletes. There's a lot of people out there contingent that says, well, hey, just give it to football, or just give it to men's basketball, or give it to your top three, top four, your big four sports. So there's a lot of conversation out there regarding it. Can we do it for the other sports? But I'm going to tell you right now, that's the way of the land. If we're not going to be able to come up with a stipend, something to give these kids, we're going to consistently fall behind in recruiting.
Now, is there, I don't know if the 1,500 or 2,000 would be in the ballpark range for the case of a Prairie View. Is there a particular happy medium range that you would like to at least see a start off with? It has nothing to do with that. It's all about the school. Each individual school comes up with a formula for what they believe is the cost and the average cost of attendance for a student. They include everything from travel back and forth to home. So there's a formula in place. So some of these schools, like I say, like at LSU, they're giving $3,000 a semester. Mm-hmm.
That's $6,000. That's basically $6,000 a year that a kid can utilize on top of their Pell Grant.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of any top academic scholarship funding they might have. So, I mean, we're fighting against the wind here regarding the stipend.
Right.
And someone even said something that they thought Texas Southern was looking at doing the stipend. So, and if Texas Southern is doing it, I'm hopeful that we'll be somewhere behind.
Right, right. Well, when you were making reference of LSU, and someone that might be listening said, "Well, those are Power Five programs. They can afford to do that. We can't afford to do that." That's why I was asking, even with that formula, on an average, I don't know, $500, because I know the band used to get a stipend. I don't know if that still holds true today. I know when I played, the band got a stipend. We used to always gripe, well, why can't we get a stipend? We out here grinding as well. You know, even if it's for a bus ticket, to get home for the weekend or something. But it's always something to be unfolded and working out. But I want to say thank you for the consistency throughout the year of meeting with us each week. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. We've learned. We've grown. And we really appreciate your willingness and participation, from Coach LaBeouf to old Frank Hubcaps, to Miss Rhonda Jackson and everyone else involved. We really, really thank you, and want to give you some closing thoughts, Coach. I can't believe this is it.
This is it, the last one of the season. Time has really flown by. But once again, I want to thank the fan base for their support, and thank you for your continued support. The kids are supposed to be in a parade coming up downtown Prairie View. I think it's April 13th. So come out and meet and greet the kids and give them a hug, shake their hand, and let them know how much you appreciate them and their efforts, and wish them well in their future endeavors, my seniors. So this is Sandy Pugh signing off until next year, guys.
All right, Coach Sandy Pugh. We'll be discussing the recruits that you'll be building on. I can't wait to see how that comes unfolded. But we want to thank you again and all the staff. It has been a joy here from the Open Mic Broadcast Network. I'm the radio guy, the Dr. Mike Prince, reminding you that you can follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. The website is obnradio.com. Our YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and our 24-hour dial-in message line, 713-570-6736. And until the next time, you guys be blessed. We'll see you on the other side.